he stood his ground. Now he's out in the wild where peace can be found. From the garage to the river. There's a man named Ron Cleveland, you know he's the real deal. Real deal. Out in the wild, casting lines where the water meets the real. He's got a heart full of fire and hands that build with pride. In his garage late at night, where the dreams come alive. Ooh, dreams come alive. Oh yeah, yeah. He's fishing, camping, grilling with a smile on his face. Worked his way through hell just to find his place. A loving husband and a man who never quits. Welcome to Ron Stream, where the good times always fit. Oh, sit back and enjoy the show. Ron's the kind of guy who'll light up a grill with a sizzle and a laugh, got that backyard thrill. He's out there on the weekends, pitching up the tent, living life his own way, every single cent well spent. He's fishing, camping, grilling with a smile on his face. Worked his way through hell just to find his place. A loving husband and a man who never quits. Welcome to Ron Stream, where the good times always fit. Oh, sit back and enjoy the show. Through the storms and the trials, he stood his ground. Now he's out in the wild where peace can be found. From the garage to the river, with friends by his side. Tune in and join Ron, it's a hell of a ride. He's fishing, camping, grilling with a smile on his face. Worked his way through hell just to find his place. A loving husband and a man who never quits. Welcome to Ron Stream, where the good times always fit. Oh, sit back and enjoy the ride. Chair, pour a drink and let's sit a while. Ron Cleveland's lift, bringing country style. With friends in the mix and the grill in between. This is Ron Cleveland's world where life is serene. And the trials, he stood his ground. Now he's out in the wild where peace can be found. The garage to the river, with friends by his side. Tune in and join Ron, it's a hell of a ride. He's fishing, camping, grilling with a smile on his face. Worked his way through hell just to find his place. A loving husband and a man who never quits. Welcome to Ron Stream, where the good times always fit. Enjoy the show. Through the storms and the trials, he stood his ground. Now he's out in the wild where peace can be found. Through the storms and the trials, he stood his ground. Now he's out in the wild where peace can be found. From the garage to the river.
Warhorse 70 says that's a pretty nice one for this state.
You can't see it.
Hole yells, well done, sir. Daddy
You can't see it. I don't care.
Brother, 0.0. Paddle 123.
26.4.
Bigger scale. Paddle 123.
26.4.
Bigger scale. Paddle 123.
26.4. Hi. Yes, another long day. Another day where I could just have come home, eat dinner, and went to bed. I haven't looked at anything today. I've had a major catastrophe, and apparently my Will it work now? Will you work now? Good grief. Boom shakalaka, what's happening? Oh. At least I hope it works.
Slow as shit, says test.
Yeah. All right. It can be yours for the low price of a lot of money. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so my work truck decided to fall apart. So in the back of this truck, there's a big door. It goes up, like a dock truck does, but ours are automated. And they ride on a track. We just had this thing in like a month and a half
OG
ago.
says howdy.
Duty. So we just had this thing in like
Youngin says got Phil out on 2 wheels.
Nice. And as we're about halfway through the day, and all of a sudden my door won't come down. Well, here they replaced most of the track. They didn't replace all of the track. And the part that they didn't replace rotted out and fell through. May have completely damaged a $3,000 door. Isn't that minty? Yeah. It's been a great day.
Was gonna come harass you, but he wasn't comfortable.
Let's talk about cars, shall we? Should we talk about my absolute disdain for them at the moment? At least newer cars, anyways. So
I might yet.
Let's talk about newer cars and why they suck at life. So we're still going rounds with the wife's car. There's a possibility we may be trading out of it. They may have found a deal that works for all of us.
John says evening.
Howdy, John. We may have found a deal that works for all of us. We'll see. Yet to be determined. And then yesterday, I bring my son out to go get his motor pickle. And we get all the way there just fine. I go to fire the truck up to leave, and the spend more money light comes on. But the truck seemed to run fine. Seems to be okay. So I get over to Half-Ass Garage because Jason has my scan tool. And I borrow their scan tool over there. And running a full diagnostic on it, and it's not picking up any codes. And I can't figure out why. And then it hit. I left there and it hit, and I'm like, it's an intermittent misfire on number 2. I guarantee it. How do I know this? Because this will be the 3rd time since this new motor has been in there that this thing is 8 in a coil pack and a spark plug out of cylinder number 2. Yeah. Isn't that mint? And if you've ever done plugs and coil packs on a 5.4 Triton, they're not pleasant by any means. No, they're not. Matter of fact, last time I didn't even want to do it. I brought it down to the local garage there. But now I'm going to have to do it myself. I was so mad yesterday. Mind you, everything under the hood of this truck is brand spanking new. The crate motor had 37,000 miles on it when we installed it. I'm guessing it's probably upwards of around 60, 70,000 miles by now. It's been in for 4 or 5 years. It's been on a couple of decent road trips. But I literally did 5,000, not even 5,000 miles in it last year. Just to give you an idea. I did less than 5,000 miles in a year. Yeah. I was so irritated yesterday. I called a buddy of mine. I know he's got a bunch of old carburetor trucks around there. And I said, hey, I need something that runs on 3 wires and a carburetor. He tried selling me a short bus. I thought about it. Still thinking about it. I mean, it's me, right? And then all this stuff that happens today at work, and I'm going, well, first thing that happens, so in order to stop the belts in a proper location, on the chain, there's a peg welded onto them that hits a hydraulic block lever. So that way I can't run any more hydraulic fluid into the hydraulic motor that runs the chains, that runs the belt. And that fell off. Lucky that was an easy enough fix. But I pointed out to the mechanic that the door was binding. Well, he thought it was binding because the door was bent. And it's like, nope, track's rotten. And I'm guessing the reason they didn't replace the back half of the track is because the little bit I seen up there, it's pretty rotten. I don't even know if they're going to be able to make anything stick up there. I don't know. I don't have a clue. Let's see.
Big Daddy yells yelling invasion just inside for 64 months in a row. John asks the cylinder crew the one in the back of the
This is my land.
Barrett just says, I think it's just time to let it go to jump the hell out of the hill.
This is God's plan.
Cylinder 2, so the way the Expeditions run, if I remember correctly, it goes up the passenger side and then the driver's side. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I remember correctly, I could be very wrong. Somebody'd have to look that up to verify it. But if I remember correctly, that is how the 5.4, first gen 5.4 Triton is laid out. So, yeah, it'd be the second one in from the front on the passenger side. Oh, that's not so bad, right? No, that's where all your heater core lines and your AC stuff is. It's all right there. And then it's underneath the fuel line. Yeah, it's mint.
Rotax says right front is 1.
Yep. So I was right. Because it goes right in order on those ones, if I
Dash
remember
says
right.
left 1, 2, 3, 4, right 5, 6, 7, 8.
I think that's backwards. Right and left in a vehicle is based on you sitting in it. Just so y'all know that. If you're ever going to do your DIY stuff and you're doing it off of looking up on the internet, when they say the right side of the vehicle, it's based on you sitting in it. So the right side would be the passenger side, left side would be the driver's side. I don't know. I'll have to look it up for sure, but I'm pretty sure it is one of the pain in the arse ones that is on the passenger side.
John says 1 I am looking at shows the direction of the motor and its second one in on left side. Rotax says when does it misfire?
It's very, very, very light, very intermittent. Yeah.
1 is right bank.
I was right. I'm right in what I'm saying.
John says evening lolly.
So if you're standing at the front of the vehicle and you're looking at the vehicle, the left side, 1, 2, 3, 4, the right side, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dash just sent me an image of it. It always, so every time this thing goes out, it starts out that way. It'll be just a slight little, and then as the coil pack continues to die and it follows out the plugs, it will literally sound like this thing, it's trying to jerk you out of the seat is what it's trying to do. So I'm not going to mess with it probably until this weekend because I have a very busy week at work this week. So that I got to wait until Friday when I get paid. Now I'm going to try this out. I've never been a big fan of ordering car parts online because typically when I do, they're just garbage. You know, henceforth the grill that I paid an extraordinary amount on the front of the Expedition that had cracked literally in shipping, and then they told me I had to ship it back to them in order for them to warranty it out, but it cost me more to ship it back than I paid for it. Same with the dashboard that is sitting over there. So, yeah. It's been beautiful. But Amazon offers Motorcraft spark plugs and MSD ignition coils for $88 for the set. For the entire set. I don't know if I trust this or if I don't. I want to trust it because MSD has always been very, very good. And I've always installed Motorcraft plugs in my Ford vehicles. That's kind of, unless I was going high performance, Then high performance, it would usually be either like an NGK or typically I would go to Excel. Because the older Fords, the Excel super coils and stuff like that worked absolutely mint with the Fords. You could actually use a rheostat to retard the timing if you needed to for nitrous with the Excel system. You can't do that with an MSD. MSD, you actually have to get out and manually set the box, at least the old ones. New ones, you can now set them on the fly. They have data links, so if you have a data set up in your let's see. So that'll be a fun and minty project. I've done them. People always ask why mine come out so nice. And it's because every time I replace them, I use thread chasers. I chase the threads every time I pull a spark plug out. And it seems to work very, very well. I actually have a brand new thread chaser tool that I bought with this one when I got this. So I remember doing them in my 03, doing all the, because I didn't know this at the time. You know, it was my first 5.4 that I'd ever owned. So it was one of those deals you learn, but I went and changed all the plugs and the coil packs and everything right away. And then a buddy of mine who's very, very hardcore into modular motors, he loves them, he swears by them, said no. He said you replace them as they go out. He said unless you're trying to do some high performance tuning stuff, replace them as they go out. You'll save yourself a ton of money. He said if you get a deal on buying all 8, he said buy all 8. Put them in the, just put them in the cabinet. So that way when one goes out, you have one on hand. So that's what I have to do. But I'm debating if I buy this kit from Amazon or not, or if I just go to the parts store like I usually do and just buy one at a time. I can buy the whole kit from Amazon cheaper than I can buy the one coil pack from O'Reilly's. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Ruger wife says so.
What's happening, Ruger wife? Why is there all these questions? What is it? Sonk? Why is there all these questions and no subscription? I could have sworn in my title it said cars, right? Cars. Didn't say anything about motor pickles.
Just got done stuffing my face.
So did I. I just had chicken nuggets tonight, though. I was feeling the chicky nuggies tonight. Chicky nuggies. Yeah, so most of my day was spent driving around yesterday or riding around. I didn't do anything at home.
We had BBQs.
Somebody answer, riddle me this, Batman. Riddle me this. We've had this discussion on stream before, but now we might have some newer people to weigh in on this discussion. So growing up, Sloppy Joes were...
Dash says I made sauerkraut hot dish.
Nice. Growing up, we had these things called Sloppy Joes, basically ground beef and tomato sauce and seasoning. or barbecue sauce and seasoning, whatever. Most people just bought the manwich meal in a can. I meet my wife, and I
John
move out
says
here.
I had sloppy joes the other night.
But I meet my wife, and I move out here, and people call them barbecues. I'm like, what is barbecue about them? What is barbecue about them? Somebody? Anybody? Nobody ever tells me what the barbecue is. You're not cooking these things on a grill. You're literally frying the hamburger in the bottom of the pot that you're putting the sauce in. And then you're simmering it for a little bit so everything kind of melds together.
Dash says I put barbecue sauce in mine. John says they use barbecue sauce instead of ketchup.
Ruger wife says lol. Mom always called them BBQs, so that's what I call them.
But doesn't Sloppy Joe sound cooler? Sounds better. Like when people say barbecues,
I call them barbecues or sloppy joes, just depends on the day.
I mean, okay, think about this. Now, some of you may or may not have been to.
Wifey says no, I do not put barbecue sauce in mine. Gag.
But
John says I've had poor man sloppies with ketchup instead of sauce.
Ruger wife says me either at Lolly Invasion.
But think about this, right? Like I have a couple of grills. I may have a few grills. Just a couple, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. 5 for sure, but maybe 6. And a smoker. And I don't remember one time ever making sloppy joes in them. I mean, I could. You technically make them on the stove, and then if you want to add a smoke flavor to them, you can put them in the smoker. Right? Oh, so confused. Untidy Joseph. There we go. We're going to start cutting here. From now on, everybody's going to call him the Untidy Joseph. And until we get Lolly's car figured out, a new truck for me is not even in the realm. I was pretty determined I was going to get a brand new F-150 this year. But my thing is she has to have a reliable vehicle first. I'm mechanically inclined enough to fix shit on the side of the road. I also know who I can call and enough people with trailers, and I can handle the cold a lot better. So if it's 20, 30 below and the car breaks down, it's not a big deal to me. It is what it is. I'm waiting for somebody to come get me. I don't ever want that for her. So she gets nice cars. Me, honestly, I was looking at them. I mean, give me an old like 69 Ford F-250 or something like that. I'll be happy. A 78 Ford crew cab. Even a 70s, a 70s Ford Bronco. Yep. I could do the Bronco. Could definitely do the Bronco. Something simple. Fords are any of them are pretty simple. So like Ford's biggest downfall was they had this thing called the Allspark in them, or we called them the brain box growing up. But you can bypass those. You can get rid of those. You don't need them. Didn't have one in my mud truck. Got rid of it. Derby guys have been doing it forever. So you can bypass that. But typically with a Ford, you want a starter solenoid. That's number one. But even then, even if that goes out, you can jump that with a screwdriver or your Leatherman or whatever. That's fine too. That works. It's just kind of inconvenient. You want to carry a starter with you because the old starters were subject to, if you had oil blowing all over the motor or got a lot of moisture in them, they would die. And then you carried an alternator, a water pump, and a couple extra belts. And you could drive that truck forever. You just carried that stuff in behind the seat. So that way when they went bad, because they will go bad, but you got them right behind the seat, not a big deal. So when the one goes bad, you swap in the new one, you take the old one in for the core, and you're done. Here comes the youngin'. There's a motor pickle in the
John
garage.
says been wanting to reach out to Steve to see if he is going to keep that bus now that they are gone.
What? Move that box, grab a chair. There's another Fat Boy chair. Oh, there's a chair right back here, too. What up, dude?
That fills you out for 18 miles. Went to Waltz because, of course, as soon as I started and it was sitting in the driveway kind of on level because you know how their driveway pitches real hard. Fuel light was on. I'm like, yep, we're going to Waltz first. But no, we went from there down to 19th, out this way, circled all the way back down around, went out and around by the college. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Dash says sounds like a Honda Davidson to me.
Yes, sir.
That is one of the baddest looking Hondas I've ever seen in my life. I would take that Honda over any Harley that's out there right now. And that's tough for me to say because I've pretty much all I've ever ridden on the street is Harley Davidson.
You had yours cut.
I did.
No, he didn't. He just lowered his ears.
What day was that? Friday?
Can't you see his glasses are sitting level?
Yeah, it's Friday. After work. Got my hair cut. Ate Jimmy John's. Went home. Went to bed. So I turned around at 3 o'clock in the morning and went to Iowa.
I think I should just take the Expedition and just go run a demo derby this year.
Evening Lolly.
It would,
Hickey Peter
you know, it'd be
Princess.
my luck.
Hi.
I go through all the work to get it into like a chain stock class.
And it'd run perfect and never have another issue.
It would just dominate the whole entire derby. And it would make me mad because it would run better than it ever did in its entire life.
And then it would be smashed up.
And he'd still drive the damn thing as long as it could drive out of there.
Daryl's still there?
He probably just got back. He had a whole section of barn to do yet when I got back here. Had I known that, I would have just left the other truck.
OG asks, has no one ever told Junior that you should bring the bike out until the first major rainfall?
We already had
We've
that.
had rain.
Yeah, we had like 2 days
And
solid
and
and nothing but
last
rain.
And the last snow that we had, they didn't salt the roads.
We had rain after that. We had 2 days of rain after that out here.
Well, I'm saying last week.
Yeah, we had 2 days of rain after that.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been on the road too damn much. Darn much. Family friendly, you know.
I'm trying.
So am I.
So am I.
One you gotta worry about is that Dash Life guy. That guy
Yeah.
will get you.
I'm talking severe rainfall, heavy downpour.
Oh, it's
No.
fine.
Wash the salt off the roads. The only thing you gotta watch out for beyond the salt, and you can kind of tell when the roads aren't white anymore, is the sand. Because we haven't had the heavy rain to wash the sand off the roads. You gotta think salt dissolves in water, so it doesn't take much there.
Yeah, we've had enough rain out here to take care of the salt. I mean,
There's definitely some sandy corners out there, but
yeah, they haven't brought out the sweepers or nothing yet.
It's not about the salt. Yes, the sand.
yeah. Just gotta be careful, pay attention, take corners.
Half of his family lives on gravel roads, so that bike goes up and down gravel roads on a fairly regular basis. So it's not,
I mean, I live on a gravel road.
you know.
Dash says he can always have Shane polish it for him for a pack of smokes.
Probably not wrong. Probably not wrong. That would
Speaking
require
of,
him to get out of bed or off the couch, though. What?
look up there and see if there might be a bottle of Harley Davidson polish up there you can have.
Okay, I came up to say hi.
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 I'm going back in from freezing.
There's Armor All Car Wash up on the top if you want that.
I'm gonna end up taking it into probably a self-serve. I'm gonna see. Is there any of them out here that have like hand dryers?
No.
Gotcha. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, these. You have 5 fingers.
Yeah, the problem is.
I thought he had 10.
Well, you do. 5 on each hand.
The problem is, so I didn't know that thing existed until.
Big Daddy
that
says
much
the
better.
weather for Ron is sunny. Temperature 57F, 14C. Wind speed 7 miles per hour direction. W, humidity 36%. Feels like 57F, 14C.
Sounds about right. But the car wash in Big Lake actually had like a vacuum hose, put a handle on it, and you blow dry it. Oh, yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, I'd never seen this before.
That's
Hell.
kind of cool for like door jams.
Yeah.
Dash says hit 73 degrees here today.
Yeah, it was nice out.
Yeah.
First time this year I got to
Sunlight.
wash the truck with the door open.
But no, microfiber. They're good for like polishing and whatnot, but they suck soaking up moisture. So I gotta find something else that actually. I'll end up going up to the park.
I don't know if that's any good anymore. Check that one up on the top there in that cylinder. That is a,
Zorberol.
yeah, it's a chamois. I don't know if that one's any good. That's from way back when I had the,
Over anything, 'cause
that's from way back when I had the Focus yet.
We got nothing to pay you with. You see us.
That thing is.
Oh,
I'm not gonna make the comment because we're
Just-
family friendly.
just throw it away. Put it in the garbage right now. Here. Because otherwise they'll keep it.
No, I don't even look at it. I just throw it around.
My comment was in regards to.
That's what you want though for moisture.
Yeah.
That's a chamois.
What's wrong with these?
What's wrong with what?
These gloves.
I can't wear them. I don't like them. Yeah,
I've got so many personal.
they're extremely
Yes, they
uncomfortable.
do. Microfiber is horrible at drying things.
Yeah.
See you later. I'm going in the house.
All right.
Love you. Be safe.
Always. What? Still trying to figure out what my comment was?
No. She said be safe, and you said always, and I.
Yeah. Family friendly. Family friendly. Because if you're gonna renege on that comment or on the whole family friendly thing, I'm gonna make my comment, and there's gonna be some people that get a good kick out of that one. Trying to think about how I can word this.
Oh, there's that 5-pounder too.
Oh, yeah.
That's the cooler I was going to give Cam.
Oh.
I've just seen a tire back there. I don't even know what it's for. Looks like it's got brand new tread.
That does.
I didn't know what it's for.
Family friendly is where it's at.
Family friendly sucks.
Oh, that's for my other trailer.
You say that is a trailer tire. I thought it was a little wider than that.
Nope, that's for my little white trailer. The one I got from Dash. I gotta go get that one too. Go empty that out at the dump.
No, he's like, I've only touched 60 on this bike like one time, and I
What?
John says with a square jaw.
so he's like, oh yeah, that's probably the longest ride I've ever been on. You know, like what? He put like 280 miles on that thing last year.
He didn't have very long last year.
We got it in, what did he say, September?
Yeah.
Right. But
And by October, he had it put
We
away.
put on 18 miles, and he said that was the longest ride I've been on.
No, because he used to ride it to work. And that's all the way up by... That's all the way up where his old shop used to be. You'd have to go through the second roundabout up there going west.
Yeah.
And go up and around.
Yeah. Still ain't 18 miles. Because like I said, we went to Waltz. We went all the way down 19. All the way out to... Where is that?
I don't know how you can ride with a hood on.
Certain ones, like this one doesn't flop. I don't know why. This one doesn't flop. The one I had on yesterday does. This one doesn't. But I wore that other one because that one was heavy. This is my thin one. This is the not so family friendly one. This is the
Oh,
one
yeah.
This is the one that I normally ride with because it's lighter. So it's enough to break the wind or the bugs hitting me.
OG says LMAO a dash.
What? Oh, yeah. So I ended up getting back to the shop, wash the truck, sitting around and waiting. And then the mechanic decided, yeah, I'm not fixing it tonight. I'm like, you could have told me that 2 hours ago. And then when I talked to him, he told me they only had three loads left. And they were just getting down to 3 loads when I got home. That's all my fishing stuff I got to go through. You gonna get into doing some carp fishing this year?
Why not?
You're gonna need to buy a rod.
You're the only one that I fish with out here. Lord knows the other two don't.
Well, the Hellcat finally broke. It's only been run over twice.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So a catfishing rod, you're gonna want to go to Catch the Fever.
Yeah.
They're $179 for the Revenge series. So I'm ordering myself 2 of them for the Minnesota River. I'm gonna use my Slime Cat for carp,
Oh, gotcha.
but you can use them either way. It's just that one I can leave that one set up for carp fishing.
So I mean, do I go with what we've got for ice fishing reels? Just get the biggest one they fucking make or friggin' make?
Well,
Because that's got the nice
I
bait
use-
feeder and
so I use the Big Cast King
yeah.
for spinning. If you're gonna do,
I mean, what do you recommend?
well, I found those 2 years ago, and I like those. Those are those passive funds or whatever they're called.
PC fun.
PC Fun. I really like those. Those are really, really smooth. I like them over the Cast Kings. The Cast Kings, the R60s, I keep stripping them out.
Gotcha.
You know, the thing is with those, if you're gonna go top of the line, which I like better, but I'm not willing to spend the money for a catfishing reel on that, is the Penn reels.
Yep.
Penn reels are really nice because they have a better drag set. They're more set for saltwater. But otherwise, you fight them in, and honestly, you could shear them reels out every weekend, and it wouldn't hurt your feelings because they're like $20 a piece.
Right.
So that's a nice thing about carp fishing. Like that reel I got on there, I think I paid $39 or $49
Yeah,
for
I
it.
know Cast King's a little cheaper.
But they're really good reels.
That's the
That's a
thing.
bait feeder reel.
I would
Yeah.
suggest the Abu Garcia C3 Catfish Special Round Reel 7000 Catfish Special.
Yeah, 'cause otherwise if I was gonna end up building a setup, I was gonna do them Okuma Seamars, but I'm like, hell. If I strip
No.
one of them out, that's $120. Because once you get over a
Yeah.
certain size, they go up.
You know, the thing is the only reason I'm a fan of the Catch the Fever rods is because they're pretty much indestructible.
Right.
I mean, outside of running mine over twice with a 7,000-pound van, it still held up, and then finally and it was because I was stress testing, and it finally snapped at one of the windings. But that thing is hauled in a ton of fish,
It
and
was funny when you started the live. I was watching your intro, and the old frog rod.
yeah, that broke me. I paid a lot of money for that.
I remember.
Taught you how to fish with a bait caster on that one. Yeah, I spent a lot of money on that dude, and it
That was
just
the heaviest rod you have probably ever owned between that rod and reel.
Well, my Luz setup now. I got the same reel on a Luz rod now because I like the reel, for frogs.
Cat Yoder or whatever the hell it is.
So this one's still a little heavy, and it's mainly the reel,
Yeah.
but that's Luz version of the frog rod. Go out and chunk it, man. It works nice. It's a nice setup.
Yeah, you can feel the weights, and this is almost identical to that crankbait rod that I've got. It's a hollow.
Yeah, I've got that. But you got the cork handle.
Yeah, I've got.
You got
I've
the full cork.
Yeah, that's the.
You don't have the split grip on yours, right?
No, it's a full cork. I can't
Yeah.
remember whose name's on that.
Yeah, that was a Luz sponsor rod.
Yeah, but that was their. If you look at it, it's actually named their favorite crankbait rod or whatever. That's
Yeah,
exactly.
I
What
think
that was
this
made for.
is their Pro Series crank rod. I'm pretty sure that one is. Nope, that's a soft plastic special. Why do I
that
got
looks
that?
like a TP1 or a 1X.
Where is this one?
That's the one that you originally bought for a crankbait rod, because you bought that the same day I
Yeah,
bought mine.
this is the crank one. No, I bought the crank 2,
Oh,
and that one's down in the basement. That's the crank 1. That's the lighter one.
gotcha. Yeah, this is your inshore setup or offshore, whatever they
Yeah.
call it, the reel anyway. Remember that was we were out on Nunya after leaving the shop. And
Yeah.
that's the one that freaking backlash on you, and it rat nested so deep, buried itself so deep.
That was
that
the only
you
one
went
and only.
back
That was the only rat's nest I could never get out, and that's because.
over an hour into that thing.
Yeah, and that's because the kid that spooled it wrong. I knew it as soon as it started coming off. I'm like, it's spooled wrong.
That wasn't a kid. That was because you bought that the same day I bought.
It
my
was
crankbait
because
rod.
I went up there
You
and
went
had.
back. He cut it all off, and he said he'd re-spool it.
Yeah, you're right. You were absolutely right in
Because I
that.
was in what boat was that?
Sullivan.
Was it?
That was a Sullivan.
Yeah, you said, well, just keep fishing, and that was the day that I was hitting them Mongo sunfish on freaking tube jigs out on Nunya.
Yeah, that was. I knew as soon as it started coming off, I'm like, yep, this one's spooled wrong.
Yeah, every cast you made, it was
But
back assward.
that's why I tell everybody if you're going to break in a new one and you're in a boat, drag the line all the way out, put a wrap on it, and run it back
get
in.
as much tension on it as you can. That's what you're supposed to do,
And
because you can't get enough tension on them.
right, but you got to remember when I started doing this stuff, there was no Tic Tacs or face palms or none of that
Well,
stuff.
I learned from Craig.
Oh, see, I learned old school. We learned the hard way because
Right.
back in the day, if I could find what I had to start out with, you would be like, "This is garbage."
I've watched videos of like.
It was the big premiere one, and I was 14 or 15 years old when they really started premiering bait casters. It was the Daiwa Black Widow 2.
Yep.
And I got one. I saved every nickel from lawn. Or no, I did not. I got it for Christmas.
Because I watched,
My mom, aka Santa Claus,
yeah.
got it for me. You know, because she was like, if you could only pick one thing, and that's all I wanted.
Right.
That's all I wanted was that Daiwa Black Widow 2. That's all I could think about. I was like, because I seen Bill Dance was using it, and Al Linder was using it, and what's his face? Roland Martin was using it. A whole bunch of the pro guys were all using this Daiwa Black Widow 2, and I wanted it. And man, I thrashed that reel, but you literally, like, you know, now they got them down to where you can cast plastics on them.
Yeah.
But
You
you
buy the
literally
right
had to
ones,
buy the biggest spinner baits known to man. You had to buy the biggest lures, basically musky lures, to throw these things out.
Yeah.
And it's like, whew, and it'd probably fall off of the
There was no tuning options.
No, it had a drag on it. It did have a spool tensioner, but it was absolutely no good. It had the kinetic brake in it, and literally you would chuck that thing and it landed about the back tire of your bike. And I mean, all day long I'm doing this, and you're talking rods that are 6 times heavier than this. And you know, modern day fishing guys have no idea what we had to go through back in the day when it came to fishing rods and things like that. We're talking like heavy fiberglass rods with aluminum inserts in them.
I'm gonna go through my rods because I'm gonna sell that orange one. I'm gonna try and sell that orange one off this year. Remember, I snapped the tip on that. I'm gonna try and sell that one off. And I'm gonna one more rod and reel combo, and I don't know what it is yet. I gotta figure out what I like each one for.
Well, if you're gonna fish with me, you might as well just get rid of that one and just start getting some stuff for the river, stuff for carp fishing.
Right.
You know, because you got enough bass stuff as it sits. For the type of bass fishing we're doing, we're not tournament fishing. Where it's not like we're.
You got a J chain with all the little doohickeys on it?
Yep.
Can I borrow it next weekend?
Yeah. Or otherwise, Phil and Shane got the double.
Well, so that's all independent. I don't want to wrap the J's around
No. They should have the J's with the
mini J's, the T's,
Yeah.
and all that. Okay.
If they don't, yeah, that's where it hangs. Come grab it.
Well, because I don't want to wrap anything around a freaking control on them.
Why? On the front end of the torch, it's fine.
Barrican said
on the back
back in
end, you
my
don't
day,
wrap 'em.
you had to tie plant fiber to a stick to fish.
No, actually, it was bamboo. Here, this is a true rod from 20 years ago. That's the kind of shit we fish
I
with.
know. I've fished with that rod.
That's Big Bertha. She's retired, though. The reel finally gave up the ghost. I tried salvaging her.
I go get you a freaking rhino. Put you a big old rhino on her.
Oh, man. My dad. God bless him.
Rhino 303.
The Zebco Classic, aka the Rhino. It came out originally, it was released as the Rhino. As it got older, it became the Zebco Classic 33. And
no, the Rhino was the big one, the river. It was made.
No, that's the 606.
Is that what it was?
That was the
Because then
606.
The Zebco 33 is were the little ones.
Yeah, that's what my dad used all the time.
Yeah.
The first
He bought
606.
that Rhino for the river.
My dad would go out, the Zebco Rhino, aka the Zebco 33, the full metal casing, metal gears. That was his favorite setup. It didn't matter if he was sun fishing, if he was out bass fishing with me, if we were out catching 16 to 20 pound catfish on the river. Always the Rhino, just different rods. Like he would have a big old rod like that with a Rhino on it.
Rods with one variant of reel.
It took me years. He had an old aluminum rod, and he would never. Oh, this thing's so strong. I'm like, Dad, you can't even get it across the river. It would get right out into the main current and go bloop, bloop, and then he just waited for it to go off to the side. So finally, I got him into one of my old pro rods, and it was a spinning rod. That's the one he always used on the river, that longer one, that 7-footer. I said, Dad, just try this
Dash
out
says
one time.
back in your day, Barracan, you had to fight the pterodactyl for the fish.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. Wow, that cast. I'm gonna have to get it. I said, Dad, you can have that one. That's one of my retired rods. You can have it. Really? Gave me a tin of Cougar wintergreen chew that he had sitting. That's when he was driving the old Thunderbird. Because we'd go down to Marion Lyle's down there in the back. And he gave me this old, he's like, yeah, he says, I'll just give you a tin of chew for it. And I'm like, you gave me this because you don't like it.
Crap, I didn't realize it was 7:30 already.
Barracan says, damn right I did. And walk in 10 foot of snow uphill both ways.
Yeah, about that.
I gotta figure out what I'm gonna eat. I haven't done that yet.
Why didn't you say it? See, if you'd have said something, we made chicken nuggets.
That's alright.
Do you need something for the house?
No, it's just the two of us tonight. So I was like, and of course, no leftovers. Imagine that.
I mean, there's stuff in the house. You want to grab something?
It's alright. I should get going before it really gets cold.
Well, I mean, like, there's chicken tenders in there. They're frozen, so I mean, throw them in a bag. By the time you get them home, you throw them in the oven.
I'm not starting an oven because honestly, the thing is I've been told
Dash says, be back later.
Or there's some microwave meals in there.
if somebody doesn't cook food, he don't eat. So he's either going to order food, which I don't know if he's really got the money for it.
Otherwise, go in the freezer. They're up on the top shelf. There's some microwave meals up there. Take a few of them home with you.
Billy says, air fryer in the garage, let's go.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust an air fryer in that garage.
No, this garage.
Oh, yeah. This garage I would. So did he just give you that hitch for the 50 you had on you or what?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I figured he'd want more for it. I know they're not cheap.
Right, but the thing is, like he said, he's never going to use it again. He had it for one purpose and one purpose only, and then they sold
Loki
that trailer.
Fishing asks Yo Ron and chat, how goes?
What's happening, dude? I was hanging out with him today, watching him fish. Well, not catch fish. You know, him and I are of the same ilk in the fact that
don't
we believe
catch
in fishing. We believe in fishing, not catching. It's 2025, people. Fish lives matter. Okay? Fish lives matter. Just putting that out there. Yeah.
I'm already ready for opener.
Be ready to get into some multi-species fishing this year.
That's fine, but opener, we've already got plans for opener.
The usual.
My sexually confused uncle can't wreck it this year. I tell you, I talked to him the other week.
Yeah.
These other guys out here hooking fish.
Isn't that
So
crazy?
wrong.
That's just that's just weird. It's weird, man. It's weird.
Oh, Mindy. I thought this was another pair of
You should try these. They're mechanics gloves. They're
I can't stand the feeling on the back of my hands. I had a pair of those.
These are Mac Tools ones. These aren't cheap ones.
No, I know, but the rubber on the backside of them, you can feel it, and I can't stand it.
Oh. Mine is the front sides, the grippers. Like they got a really good grip on them,
Yeah.
and I can't stand that part. I've had them for like 8 years.
Oh, I know.
Keep saying, "No, I'm gonna just break them in." I broke them in all right.
Broke them right to the garbage can. You suck. Now I can't get your little son. I can't get it out of my damn head.
Haha. Oh, there's another set of blades. Be careful, the deer are moving out here hard.
I know when we went out by the college, I was watching hard because when I used to come home from work or when I'd come home from here, that's how I would go home. And every night,
12 is usually fine between here and your place,
yeah.
but anywhere outside here, like going down 8 or trying to go that way or whatever.
Well, I think I'm gonna start mapping it here once I've got time.
Well-
My short ride, because we talked about going around Green. I think I'm actually gonna go up 71, hit the backside of Eagle, come over this way, and then go north. and go
Well,
around 8.
When you get time, well, I'll sit and I'll just do like I did. I'll show you in the truck,
Yeah.
and we'll go that round. You'll like that ride. I did that one absolutely perfect. The short ride and the long ride, you'll like that. Because the short one around Green takes you about an hour.
And that's one of those where it's just I'm not even gonna be in the throttle. It's just one of them.
Nope, that's just a coaster.
cruise and,
You got a couple of spots where you get into it a little bit, where you'll be able to open it up a little bit and just clean the
And then
carbon.
on the backside on the bridge, it'd be one of those type of spots where I normally stop, check it out, see
Yep.
what it looks like. Yeah.
Get out and stretch out.
At
And
Fishing with OG Ty Bro.
so,
Well, you got a fire extinguisher now on here.
that came with the van, and I just couldn't part with it because it's like old.
Does it work?
Yeah, I had to use it. I may have started a fire in here, a really bad one.
Well, so I wasn't in the spring when you did the whole.
Well, there's 3 furnaces I tried blowing up
Right,
in here.
right, and that's why it's like, well, maybe that's a good
And
idea
then,
that you got a fire extinguisher in here.
Really? Then the one lady, she brings her lawnmower over for me to work on.
Yeah.
Didn't bother to tell me that somebody did a carb kit in it. So as soon as I fired it, it blew fire all over the top of it because they didn't do it right. Like it started and it like fire all over my garage, and the only thing I had was that. And I was like, I mean, I could have just let it burn and got a lot of insurance money, but for some reason, something in me, I know what it was. Because I had 3 full gas cans sitting in
It
here.
wouldn't have just burned, it would have blown.
Yeah. Yeah, that was mint.
Yeah.
Well, at least you can see the top of the toolbox again.
Right? You can see the floor again. But
Then,
alright. I suppose, Pop. I'll
Love you,
catch you
kid.
later. I'll call you tomorrow.
oh, yeah. Hey, new battery.
I cannot hear you.
New battery.
It always starts hard. Like that, it always has that lug.
That is a Honda Fury. That bike is 100% factory. Or wait, it might have aftermarket pipes on it, but they were just loud to begin with. It is a Honda's stretched out chopper.
John says, where is my dip?
It's in my lip. I don't do it on stream anymore. So I'm trying not to. Remember, family friendly.
Ah. Billy says, what are you thinking?
Ruger wife says I see the squirrel cage trying to start up.
No, I say a prayer for him, man. I lost my brother on a motorcycle, and I haven't been on one since. So, outside of road taxes, I rode road taxes in Durrell, up and down.
John says, I think it's been running all along actually.
I rode road taxes in Durrell. When we were out at Carver, I rode it up and down the dirt a couple times, but that is the only time I've ever had an inkling to be on two wheels. And that was more of a nostalgia thing for me because I used to race enduros as a teenager. Very short-lived, very short run. Enduros took off, got really popular here in Minnesota, and then they fell off. Otherwise known as dual-purpose bikes. I brought him out to his grandparents to pick up that bike me and his grandpa were talking about when I used to do that. Yeah, it's a pretty hard thing. Most people can't believe I don't ride bikes anymore, and I haven't for, going on 6 years now? I got back from Arkansas after burying my brother, and Matt Olson's actually the one that was the one who picked up my shovel head. I didn't want to see it again. And he knew had he not picked it up, I would have just given it to somebody, and that bike was worth a lot of money. And at that point in time, I just didn't care. I didn't care at all. I always felt like it was my fault that he got on bikes, because when I was a teenager, I used to do some dumb stuff on bikes. True story, we used to have these raised tree roots in our yard, and this is when I was living with my biological dad, which is where I was living with my three brothers. They would hide behind one of these tree roots that I would jump every time I came into the yard, and I couldn't see them until I was right on top of them. Well, at that time, when you're that far into it, you don't hit the brakes because you're not going to stop. You'll run them over, so you end up hitting it. And they thought it was the coolest thing in the world when I jump over the top of them, and doing like any teenager does. I was always showing off, riding wheelies and doing dumb stuff. And Yeah. I know he made his own choices. He was a grown man, but sometimes I wonder if I would have been a more responsible rider back then, maybe it wouldn't have rubbed off on him so much. And that's kind of thoughts that are in my head, and that's why I don't, did not want my kid to get a bike at all. But I can't make his choices for him, and he loves it. That he puts thousands of miles on every year. So he's been asked this year by the Legionnaires to lead some rides. He rides with a very, very responsible group of riders back in our home area. The people he rides with are very, very responsible. So and I can't say not when I was his age, I had to have a bike. If not one, I probably had two or three. Always had my custom Harley for showing off. I had my full dress for long rides, and then usually I had a crotch rocket for doing dumb stuff. So I don't know. I always say a prayer whenever he takes off. Then I listen. That's what I do, is I listen. I can hear him about halfway into the next town over. Yeah. You'll be all right. He's had a couple of close calls, so it makes him ride responsible, and he realizes the fact that it's not his ability to ride, it's the people around him. But he does good. He stays out of the throttle on that bike because he knows you can hear it for miles, but he, like anybody, you get on him once in a while.
Loki Fishing says no more motorcycles for me either. All done with that. Promised the wife. Billy says that is the biggest factor. Cross the Stream says, hey Ron, good to see you.
What's happening?
What are your plans for spring and summer? I assume ice fishing will go away soon.
Oh, ice fishing's already done. Been done. If I had a portable setup, I could have probably got out up until last weekend, but I don't own a portable setup. And I'm not lugging one out there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure by next weekend, most of the ice is going to start disappearing real fast. A lot of the lakes are opening up already. So it won't be long. Do some pan fishing because that's about all we can catch. Wait for carp to open up. Carp and catfish. Let's see what the Minnesota River is going to do, because last year it stayed in flood stage for a long time last year. So I'd like to try and go get down on my Carver fishing spot when the water's high, because that's about the only way I'm going to be able to fish that spot. And then
Big Daddy Yells Wolfram Custom Rods is rating this with 24 viewers.
24.
This is the 9-time Wolfram Custom Rods has rated us.
What is happening, everybody? Welcome, Raiders. I'm a fat, old, bald guy who likes to fish, and I worked a lot of hours today. So we're just sitting here in my messy garage, and BSing. Wolfram, thank you for the raid. Appreciate you. Oh. Yeah. So I'd like to get down on the Minnesota River. I'd like to go down to Carver whilst the water's high, because that's about the only way I'm going to be able to fish there now, because the
At
ledges.
Wolfram Custom Rods too. Welcome in, Raiders. Thank you for stopping in to see what crazy stuff I'm doing today. I appreciate you all. Don't forget to click the icon that says live, or click this link URL so your viewing counts toward the stream. If you like what you see, feel free to smash that follow button.
You can smash it with a brick or them all. I'll borrow them to you. Oh. Good fishing crap everywhere. You'd think all this fishing crap, you'd think I'd actually catch a fish once in a while. Fat chance. I'm going to stick this up here for now because I don't want to break that. That's a noodle rod. Need to decide what color I'm going to paint this year. The old cat claws. I will be getting new tall boys. Once they get a restock of tall boys, I will be doing a giveaway on the stream, trying to have it done before spring fishing for most. First prize will be a stomper and a tall boy. Second place will just be the tall boy, and third place will be just the stomper. So trying to raise some money for a trolling motor. I'm gonna do something simple this year, the trolling motor though. I'm not going all out. I'm just gonna get a tiller steerer style bow mount trolling motor for the Sullivan. I don't want to deal with a whole bunch of cables and cords and things like that. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. It's a 17-foot boat.
OG says I am dipping all my new cat claws rod holders blaze orange so I don't lose them again.
I don't know. It seems like the fluorescent pink ones stand out better, just from past experience. Fluorescent pink ones seem to stand out really, really well. I am out of acetone. I'm looking up there. I'm out of acetone also. So much to do, so little time to do it. No, I have plenty of time. This week's going to be really busy at work. I don't foresee myself having one day under 12 hours, so maybe Friday. And then Friday I'll come out here and finish the rest of this up. And then Saturday, it's supposed to be crappy weather, so Saturday I'll probably jam out in here and put the plug in the coil pack in the Expedition. And then the nights I'm not streaming, I'll be working on the basement, which is almost done too. It's actually further along than this. And then once this is cleaned out, we'll bring the big table out. We'll spread out the bass box, see what's still good in there, what's bad, what needs hooks replaced. And then up next will be the river box. As Lord knows, I got a bunch of stuff in there that's got to be rearranged. My river box rode around so much in the back of that trailer that, and got so much sun exposure that the box has actually got brittle. So I've got a solid tackle box. I'm going to put that stuff in. And then the carp fishing stuff, I'm just going to keep in the old, my old lunchbox. It worked good because I could put my pack bait in there and keep it cool. And we're just going to keep rocking that, dude, for the carp fishing stuff because I really don't need a lot for it. Dad, what's happening? But the nice thing is with the adage of Starlink this year, see if I can't, what is my PB right now? 13
Hi,
pounds?
Dad.
I think my PB is the 13-pound carp right now. We're going to see if we can't crush that. The state record was literally caught an hour straight south of me. So once I know the expedition's up and rolling, I'm going to go down there and scout some spots. Because I know if the expedition will make it through there comfortably, the van will too. Time to close the garage door. I can feel it cooling off real fast. And I may have to, I know in 2 weeks here, I've got a new garage door opener getting installed. I actually had a garage door guy come and look at my garage door opener, an honest one. The last one I had here, I kind of, because it's not normal to run your, I know it's been a big on-running joke. I run my garage door off a toggle switch. But that's not really a normal thing for garage doors. And he came over and looked and he said there's something wrong with the internal board. Because like it'll go up just fine on its own, but when you try to get it to go down, it won't. You have to stop it and then go again, stop it, then go again. That kind of thing. So he just told me to go get a new garage door opener installed for $125. $150, something like that. I'm like, I can't beat that. And he's going to go through and service my garage door. He just did the ones on the storage garage for me. So, which is really nice. Put all new rollers in and reset the springs, put new cables in, reset the track width on them, which is really nice. So, and he works for another company doing it professionally, but the problem is, you know, he started running into a whole lot of people that couldn't get simple service on the garage doors. You know, like me, they came out here and tried selling me a whole brand new garage door, and he's like, I don't know why your garage door is perfect. Outside of the one dent that's in it, but it's not, it didn't do anything to the structure of the door. And the track's fine. The springs are fine. His only thing is my safety cables are disconnected. He wasn't real impressed with that. So he said, the only way I'm doing this is if I get to rehook them cables up. I'm like, okay. He's like, why are they disconnected? I said, because they used to cause the door to bind with that garage door opener. And that garage door opener, it is old. We're guessing it is from somewhere in the early to mid 80s. So we're going to replace that. Then I'll have actual working garage door openers, and I know I will not have the lower sensors because I hate those things. My sensors will be facing each other right up behind the garage door opener. I hate those sensors in the worst way. Mainly because if I get a west wind in the fall, all the neighbors' leaves blow down here. And if I try to close the garage door from the outside, all it takes is one leaf to hurry up and scurry through here, and it stops my garage door. And it never failed. It always happens. or if the snow is blowing. Like my wife will back out of work, and we had it happen a couple of times. Because typically I park in the garage in the wintertime and go to back out, and the garage door won't close because the snow is blowing up against the sensors too hard. So we'll just eliminate that problem all the way, all the way. Trying to forgot to do my daily Discord check. I know it's not a big thing to y'all. Whoa. Whoosh. Oh. Dang. Barrick and I am not doing that. Negative Ghost Rider. No. Nope. It's cool, but
Barrican says you see that crazy setup.
yeah.
LMAO.
Yeah.
Billy says what could go wrong?
Yeah. No. No, a friend of mine, her and I seem to be having a contest in whose daylight savings has started out the worst. Because we're literally right at daylight savings. She was on her way to work, and her pickup, which she is into like I am into this expedition, decided it didn't want to do over 40 miles an hour. And I mean, she has stuck a ton of money and a ton of work into this truck. And yeah, just decided it didn't want to do over 40 miles an hour. So she shut it down, had to catch a ride to work, then had to go back after work and tow it home. And they're still trying to figure out what the problem is. And then her other truck that has been her project truck that she doesn't drive in the winter.
Barrican says mine was hands down. I lost an hour of sleep on my weekend off.
Huh. You have one of those? What is that? A weekend off? I don't get a weekend off. I did do a stream on the old Tic Tac that I have not done in like a year and a half. Did that this weekend. But yeah, I told her about the expedition and its issues, and then the work truck, and then yeah.
I have almost every weekend off.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because you're my tech mod. No, you don't. No, you don't. You can lie to everybody else, but you can't lie to me, sir. You cannot lie to me. What? No, I'm not answering. Ain't gonna do it. I get another water delivery tomorrow, thank goodness, because I'm down to my last bottle and a half of water. I have become, in the last few years, a water snob. It's enhanced with minerals. Purified by reverse osmosis. It's funny, I used to drink whiskey and moonshine like that, and I would never touch water. Now the older I get, I'd rather have water. Missed it. Missed it. I missed it. I missed it. I missed it. I gotta. Let's see. See how much money those are gonna cost me. They got their precision crappie rod series too. Just what I don't need. But I'm gonna look at it anyways because I might need it. I'm not sponsored by them. Fish on Luke is the guy that turned me on to them, and this is one of the big ones. Yeah, 16-foot crappie rod. That's one of the ones where you use the old yeah. That's where you gotta have that old forward facing sonar. Hellcat Revenge.
Billy says you got some cleaning to do Friday, so you can get that truck in the G-Rage for Saturday stream. Epic Mechanic stream.
Epic Mechanic stream, huh? Is that what you're hollering at me about, Billy? Sounds like you want me to be a content creator. Is that what it sounds like you want me to be, Billy, as a content creator?
Barrican asks, didn't he say last week this garage was going to be done by last weekend?
Well, I mean, I can take care of that. And then what will we do? The same thing we're doing right now, just sitting here BSing. That would be exactly what we'd be doing. Ooh, they got the Hellcat Revenge rod in orange. They're out of the pink ones already. Why? I can get a regular pink Hellcat. Or they got it in green. They got the Hellcat Patriot. But these Revenge rods, man, they're supposed to be according to their pro staff, man, these things are supposed to be on point. So we have a choice of green and orange. Green and orange. You can hear my wife in the house. Orange, orange. I could buy it right now, but I'm not going to. Oh. Gotta get 2 rods for the river. I've determined that I'm going to turn the other half of my storage unit into a fishing room. Get everything cleaned up and organized, and then I'm going to put all my fishing stuff over there. Because the boat, I do believe, will fit in there. I'll have to find out for sure. But I believe the boat will fit in there in the wintertime, so I can leave it all in there over the winter. Because most of the ice fishing stuff, as far as the rods and tackle and stuff like that, I'll just leave in the fish house. All this fishing stuff. Then we'll be making meals out by the lake shore this summer. When I get off of work, that'll be where I'll be eating dinner. For the most part, figure out what I'm going to make when I'm out there. Billy will just have to break out that moldy money so I can eat ribeye steaks every night. Yep. Nope. I couldn't eat ribeye steaks every night. What I'm most excited about is getting the T-bar in the back of the boat. I plan on working on my trolling techniques this year as far as fishing goes. I want to work on trolling deeper waters. I was watching Loki fishing today, and I'm like, I got some really good lakes. I could do that same thing he was trolling today. Like, I could do that same thing. I don't do much of it on stream, but I got some deep water lakes out here that would work really, really good on. Get some, couple of these lakes, you never know what you're going to get trolling. You might be in 40 feet of water crossing a structure and hit a smallmouth or a crappie or something like that. Who knows? I've caught some pretty good smallmouth inadvertently trolling a power tail, power worm, Berkeley power worm. Yeah. Got a few things to work on this year. Diversify my techniques. I've gotten into multi-species. Now I need to start diversifying techniques. I don't want to go too overboard. Is there any musky fishermen? I need to figure out a good musky rod. I want a walleye rod and a musky rod this year too. Both of them I want spinning. Because it gets to be too much running a bait caster like musky fishing. We're usually out musky fishing later in the fall, and it gets awfully cold that route. I got some pointers on musky fishing this year, so hopefully with the old Starling setup this year, I'll be able to take you guys with me. That'd be nice. And I have to recalibrate my pole mount. I forgot I had this part of it. This is the ground spike for it. I think what I might do is I might order another one of these kits. They weren't that expensive on Amazon. I might order another one of these kits, and then either that or I'm going to have Iams Garage bend me up or make me some out of exhaust tubing, put a flare in it. And then I'll do just like I did for my fish house adapter, and I'll weld a nut on the back side of them, and then just use bolts for tension. Or I can pin it, actually. I could pin that setup. I think I might do that. That'd actually be a good idea. We could just pin that for... Because he gets his exhaust tubing in 12-foot sticks. So I'd have to have him cut it down into like 4-foot lengths. Or 3-foot lengths, and then I can pin each section together. I wasn't really impressed by the piping on the pole kit, even though it held up fairly well, but you put any kind of tension on
Loki
it.
Fishing, says Greg to the @Gregular TV.
Everybody wants me to get my garage clean. Okay. See what time I get done tomorrow. By the time I turn the stream on Wednesday, might have the Expedition in here. Maybe I'll just say the funk with it and go to the parts store and get the parts because they have them on hand. And then when it doesn't work, it's all Billy's fault. Yep. We can blame that on Billy. Yeah.
Billy says, of course, dang it.
A friend of mine suggested, hey man, it'd be kind of neat to see how you do economy car camping. I said, what do you mean? Because back in the day, way back in the day, one of my favorite cars, outside all my hot rods, I had a little Ford.
Loki Fishing asks, wait, garages are supposed to be clean? Billy says, Ozman.
Ozzy, what's happening? The king of trolls, Ozzy Titan. I used to have a Ford Festiva.
Loki Fishing says at Aussie Titan, quit following me.
And man, I could pack some camping gear in that thing. But the thing that I had to remind them is that I used to tent camp with that, and I was also in my early 20s. And we went to a rally car event, and that was the thing, is everybody just packed tents and stuff like that. But I had one of the smallest cars next to my buddy's Geo Metro, and we were like well prepared. But the way I had it set up was the hatchback was part of my tent. So I had one of these really tall tents with a opening, but I would leave the hatch for the car at a certain spot. I'd have ratchet straps holding it in a certain spot, and then had it go through the door, and it worked out really, really well. But at being a 6-foot guy, it's not like you can climb in the back of those things and go to sleep. And I said, I don't understand why you would want me to do an economy car camping thing. And he just said it was just the way I had mine laid out, and it really wasn't much. It was 2 deep cycle marine batteries, that I would charge off of the main car battery, which really isn't good for them, but it worked. And then I had a small power inverter that I ran off of there, and I was watching TV in my tent.
Bro.
They really didn't have whisper generators back then, and honestly, nobody wanted to hear a generator. So that was one of those things. And then me being a truck driver also, power inverters were a normal thing for us. So you just go out when you'd be at the event, you'd run the car during the daytime to charge the batteries. And I had a load tester back then. That's the other thing that went to crap, was my battery load tester went to garbage. I have to go buy another one of those. But yeah, long story short, I had 2 cars that I did that with, and the one was pretty gnarly. Made a homemade lift kit for it that actually functioned and worked well.
Regal 2 bra.
Ended up dropping the engine cradle down in order to get the lift in it that I needed. I dropped the engine cradle 1.5 inches, made homemade mounts for it. The rear suspension, I spent hours all winter long just so I could get some 31-inch tires underneath this car, because everybody told me it couldn't be done.
Billy says no Aussie, he ran over his rods, LMAO.
No, I have my carp rod. I have my Slime Cat. Big Bertha, she's tapped out. The Hellcat rod finally broke, but a couple of years ago I ran it over twice with a 7,000-pound van. The fact that it even held up as long as it did after that, and we caught some pretty good sized fish on there. Matter of fact, one of the clips of my 26-pound flathead was on that same rod, and she finally gave up the ghost this last summer. So
Loki Fishing says, whoa, rip.
Yeah, so I got to buy 2 new. If I want to go fish on the Minnesota River, because we can run 2 rods down there this year, I'd like to have one set up with live bait and one set up with cut bait. I got to reach out to my buddy Nick, because he knows that down there really, really well, because I've got to have a spot where it faces, try to get on a bend of the river where I can have the Starling facing north, because it's the only shot that I've got to be able to get signal, because it's pretty wooded in down there. And then the places where it's open is usually floodplain, but it's private property. So everywhere that's typically open to public fishing is pretty wooded over. But he pretty much lives down there all summer. He lives in his van, got a good job, makes great money, but he's just was not going to pay
Billy
taxes.
says right on Aussie.
Oh, right on. Yeah, he lives in his van. He, um, he got tired of paying all the bills that everybody else pays, so he went to living
Loki
in his
Fishing
van.
says at Aussie Titan you should keep them on land and put the bait in the water.
I'm really partial to the Hellcat rods, just because they're just an extremely durable rod. Now, don't get me wrong, I really like the Slime Cat rod for carp fishing. I still have a little bit to work on when it comes to my pack bait and getting it to stick, so I can. Like, I watch these guys in Europe when they're slinging their pack bait, boy, and I mean they get it out there. And I'm sitting here going, boy, I'm lucky I get mine 20, 30 feet and it falls off. And then I can't seem to get the mixture quite right. So I'll get to play with that again this year. And then I'm gonna make batches of it and then partial it off into sandwich bags. I seen a guy he used a mud mixer on a drill to mix his pack bait. Because he makes like 5 gallons of it at a shot. Not quite 5 gallons. He uses a 5-gallon bucket, but that's what he uses to mix all his up.
OG says it's best when fresh.
I can't say that because the last 2 weeks of carp fishing for me, I was using the same pack bait. I made one final batch of it and I just made it in a Rubbermaid container and it was the same pack bait. I just kept putting it in the fridge every night and it worked just fine. I did find out you don't cook it down though. Don't cook it. It gets like rock solid, doesn't fall apart. Well, not rock solid, but it gets super, super sticky and it doesn't fall apart. I thought it'd be slick and boil it into the oatmeal. Thought I'd get really smart and slick with that and boil it into the oatmeal. Yeah, wasn't real smart. It seems like once you it seemed like the more I had it in the fridge, the more it melded together. And after a couple of days of it sitting, it seemed to work. It seemed to hold together really, really well. You even froze yours? I don't have any raid suggestions. I don't even look, to be honest with you. 21 ounce old fashioned oats, 1 can of cream corn, 1 can of panko, 1 6-ounce box of Jello, 1 drained can of sweet corn. That's the same way I do mine, except I add vanilla extract. The imitation vanilla extract does work. You can get the cheap stuff at the Walmart, or you can order it off Amazon. Yeah, I don't think there's any one way. You just got to figure it out for the area that you're fishing. Like mine, no lie, the Starburst Cherry Jello. The Starburst Cherry Jello seems to be the key around here. I don't know why. But that Starburst Cherry Jello, which is the same as the Walmart brand Jello, same size, seems to work really good. Because the day I was out fishing with OG, I was just using cheap Jello, and yeah, we caught quite a few carp. But then when I brought it over to my regular fishing spot, I couldn't catch anything on it. But then I went back to the Starburst Jello, and it worked phenomenal. Matter of fact, I got my PB right now, I think it's 13 pounds. And there's way bigger than that out here. Even in the lakes, there's way bigger out there. So just to give you guys, those who are new here, just to give you an idea, my area is harvested huge for carp. This last winter in one lake, they took out over 200,000 pounds of carp to ship to New York because it is considered a kosher fish. So people who are like the Jewish people and certain other religions are under Old Testament eating restrictions. So they harvest the fish out here. They like really doing it in the wintertime because it's, they're cold water, the meat's firm, and it's easier to ship that way. So yeah, one lake this year, there was over 200,000 pounds of fish that they took out. And it's insane watching how they do it. So they'll open up a big area in ice and they'll put these nets down, and basically it's just carp pellets. Them, what do they call them? The sweet pellets, sweet feed pellets, and they'll just dump bags and bags of that stuff down there. It's very rarely you get other fish in the mix once carp come around. He said occasionally they'll net some panfish in there and stuff, and they can usually. He said that it's not very often that they've ever killed a panfish or able to throw them back, but yeah. Last year they took the DNR harvested over 500,000 pounds of carp out here between 3 lakes. 500,000 pounds. And what the DNR does is they basically run through a wood chipper and then they use them for fertilizer. We have some very, very hardcore breeding grounds for carp out here.
Loki Fishing says gotta lurk and get some sleep. Later, fellas. Be safe out there.
Appreciate it. That's intriguing. The Hmong population. Actually, when I lived down in Coon Rapids and I used to fish the dam down there, they would buy them off of you. They would buy everyone you caught.
OG says 2 8-ounce cans of panko, 1 5.25 ounce of sweet corn with the juice, 1 family size strawberry jello. It's basic, has perfect consistency every time, and it works. Loki Fishing says later, bro.
See you, Loki. Thank you for the fishing stream earlier today. Can I get another shout out for Loki Fishing, please? Yeah, they harvest. I should stream that next year. I'll have to get a hold of him and find out where they do it next year. I should stream that for you guys so you can see that. It's quite the process. So they have trailers with these big, huge white tubs on them. They're like hay racks almost. And they're these big, giant white tubs on them. So they'll pull these nets up and they'll dump these nets off in these tubs. And they keep them alive for as long as they possibly can in these tubs. And then they'll take these tubs and they'll load them up on a flatbed semi. And then, I don't know, they go to some building somewheres. And once they get loaded up and things like that, I mean, it's a process, but it's insane. You don't realize how many carp we have out here until you see them harvested. We've got one lake south of me that they take 100,000 pounds out of every year commercial fishing. They'll do that right away this spring. I'm going to see if I can't. That's not the outfit he works for, but I'm going to see if he can find out. it'd be really cool if I could actually just go out and be able to live stream it so you could see it. Yeah, they take 100,000 pounds. It's actually connected to where OG and I were fishing. But yeah, 100,000 pounds of carp they pull out of there every single year for commercial fishing. I've got one other lake now that we have Starlink. I've got one other lake that I'll be able to go. I might even try and boat fish this year to get right in the current flow. Um, it's right on the other side of where OG and I were fishing, but you get zero signal there. As soon as you get to the lake, there's zero signal at all. But try doing some carp fishing from the boat and see how that works. Basically, what I'm going to do is just anchor down. I'm going to get into the flow pattern because there's a stream that flows through it, and maybe, hopefully, I might be able to get on some suckers that I can put away for bait, so I can get down on the river. I'd like to see if I can bust my PB this year down on the Minnesota River. That would be stellar. Might have to call on the river rats down there, get on some spots. I'm at 45. I'd like to hit 50. At 50 pounds, I would be content. I'd be very content at a 50-pound flathead. So that would be a pinnacle for me. And the only reason I say that is because there's been a lot of 50-pounders caught out of that's the couple of sections of the river that I normally fish. And we know the old Sullivan will go up and down the Minnesota River. She's been there, done that. That's it. Soggy's a river rat for sure. Yeah, Soggy's put me on a couple of good spots. One of my favorite camping spots is one that Soggy put me on. It's where I seen them weird. It's where I seen them weird bugs. I forgot what they were. They kind of look like a praying mantis. They're the flying. I forgot what they're called. Wolfram, you know what they are. What is that? They like to eat mayflies, but they're like a predatory bug. They kind of look like a praying mantis. I can't think of what they're called. Soggy pointed them out to me. Soggy, what is that bug? You see them all over underneath the bridge. That spot that you brought me to. And the mayflies down there were ridiculous. Pretty sure it was a black bug. It was like a flying praying mantis or something like that. It was huge. No, it wasn't a walking stick. I can't think of the name of it. Is that what it was? A water boatman? No, that wasn't it either. It was kind of long. The only time I'd ever seen them. No, not the toe biter. Giant water bug. Isn't that the toe biter? Yeah, no, wasn't that. No, I know the toe biters. That I've seen them. I've seen them before. Almost got when I was up in the iron mine or up in the taconite mines fishing with knives. Stuck my hand in a bait bucket, grabbing a minnow, and all of a sudden I pulled my hand up and hear one come floating up to the top and swimming around. No, I want to say it was kind of like long and it was black. I mean, they were pretty good sized. Reform panty. Yeah, it was in my bait bucket. We got it from the bait shop. Like it because he went and got a scoop of minnows because we were trying to see what kind of fish we could catch out of there, and we weren't having much luck on fake bait. We could see fish, we didn't know what they were, so we tried a little bit of everything. We tried waxworms and night crawlers and minnows, and yeah, I went down in the bucket and I grabbed a minnow with my bare hand, and then all of a sudden that toe biter was. I literally picked him up with a pair of pliers and threw him in the fire. Because those dudes will do some damage. The first time I'd ever seen one was posted on an ice fishing page a few years back. It was caught out of Maple Lake. It was attached to a guy's fishing line, and I'd never seen one before that. And now I've seen them in person, and there's some nasty little dudes, man. Yeah, it's called a giant water bug, or it's also known as a toe biter. See if I can find it. Was it the Dame's fly? Or damsel fly? No. Was it the damsel flies? Dobson flies. I think that's what it was. See if we can find a picture of one. Yeah, Dobson fly. I don't remember what the deal was with that you were telling me about them because I'd never seen one before until I was out there fishing with you. Yeah, that's exactly what
Big
they
Daddy
were.
yells cowboy pipes just gets at Soggy Wonka Customs
These are
Association.
my people. This is my land. This is what we pray for.
Soggy yells at cowboy pipes
This
thanks
is
to the
God's
gift pipes.
plan.
Yeah, they're just some wicked looking flies, man. They got little pincers on the front
Cowboy
of them.
Pipes says YW at Soggy Wonka Customs.
Cowboy Pipes, thank you for that gift sub. Yeah, they were just some. Yeah. Swedish Pimple was happening. Yeah, that's what it was. It was the first time I'd ever seen one. And it was just wild because it landed. So what it was is we were on the spot, and I had my bright spotlight out, and the mayflies were just piling in there thick, and we were throwing them out on the water. We were picking them up by the handfuls and throwing them out on the water. And all of a sudden, this thing landed, and I said, "Soggy, what in the hell is that thing?" It actually kind of freaked me out, man, because this thing, I mean, it's got like these big old pincers on it, and I was just like, "What in the hell is that thing?" Because we were throwing the mayflies out because you could listen to the gar go after them because you literally pick them up two-handed. As soon as they hit the mud, they die. So you just go down there and you pick up a handful of them, throw them out there, and that was our entertainment.
Soggy says freak me out too.
Yeah, whee. But then you realize they don't mess with you. They don't mess with you at all. So, yeah, but they're pretty wicked looking. Look it up. It's called a Dobson fly. And that's the only spot on the river I've ever seen them. Like insects galore are pretty normal on the river, but there's some stuff out there that goes bump in the night, and that was one of them. That thing was pretty gnarly looking. Well, it isn't the part that really trips you out is like you can visibly see these big ass pincers coming off of his head. You know, just like the toe biter. The toe biter's got these nasty looking fucking pincers, and it's like, and at that time I'd already had my experience with the toe biter, and I'm like, what in the hell is that?
Yeah, males have super huge pinchers and the females have small ones.
Yeah.
The ugly as shit. They.
And then you'd hear them fly past you. Hooey. Boy, them were so y'all thought June bugs were loud and stuff. Wait until you hear one of them dudes fly past your head. But the nice thing was having the bright lights that we had shining up the rods. That kind of kept everything distracted outside of the mosquitoes, because I mean our state bird. I mean it's attracted to human flesh no matter what you do. And when you're down on the river, they're big enough to carry you away to the next state. That's why you don't sleep outside out there, because the next thing you know, you'll end up in Wisconsin or something. Yeah, that one. Yeah. I didn't realize we had, like, I know we have a lot of insects in Minnesota, and we have there's some things, but it's like you get to certain parts of Minnesota and you start seeing these bugs, and it's like, what the hell? Makes you reconsider your nighttime fishing sometimes. Because a toe biter will mess you up. I got very lucky that sucker didn't grab a hold of my hand because I was just outside of town, but I don't think I would have made it. And it would have basically taken knives to be watching my stream to be able to tell paramedics where to go. Because from what I understand, they could do some serious damage. I haven't heard of any in the lakes around here yet, but I know, like, east of me, some of the lakes over there have gotten very prevalent with them. And as far as I know, they don't have any, there isn't any predatory species for them as far as fish go. I could use the bathroom quick. I need a mod to start finding me a raid, please.
OG says despite their frightening looks and size, these insects are not a danger to people. Dobson flies only bite when handled roughly, and while the bite is painful, the effects of a bite do not last very long.
Yeah, I think we looked that up when we seen them that night. That's why I wasn't worried about them after that. But the toe biters, I think, are actually can do some damage to you. The giant water beetle. I believe those are the ones I was most concerned about, especially after sticking my hand in a bucket with one. Oh. I'm actually looking forward to going to bed, stretching out. Well, thank you.
Billy says I'm looking Ron nothing yet.
Okay. Well, just let me know when you find something.
OG says we can go raid retro.
Yeah, we can throw that dude a raid. Let's throw a retro raid. I've actually never got to raid him. He's raided us a lot. We'll throw a retro raid, by all means. Absolutely. Gonna go meet my brother from another mother if you guys have not seen him. I think he's gaming tonight, but he's normally on during the daytime doing mechanics. He's a private mechanic for a local dealer, Retro's Chop Shop. I hang out with him pretty regular.
Dash says have a great night everyone. Big Daddy says at Fishing with Og, usage. Raid, username. Raid, toggle, lookup, set reward. Set incoming message. Set new incoming message. Set outgoing message. Set outgoing messages Pam. At Fishing with OG, usage. Raid, username. Raid, toggle, lookup.
Oh no,
set
it's
reward.
/raid.
Set incoming message. Set new incoming message. Set outgoing message. Set outgoing messages Pam. Dash says he's a busy guy. He works on Chevys.
Yes, he does. He's got a pretty nasty truck he's been building for himself.
Big Daddy yells we are going to raid Retro's Chop Shop. Go to their channel URL now. OG says I forgot the S again.
Well, I appreciate y'all hanging out. Thank you very, very much. Sorry that there's not a whole lot of action, but when I work long days, you're not going to get a whole lot of action out of me. It's everything I do to come out here and turn the stream on because I'd rather just go to bed. So I have to be up at 4 a.m. for work, which leaves me usually by the time I go in and shower, it leaves me about 6 hours of sleep. So that's why I take a few nights off a week. Billy wants to do some kind of garage-a-thon, but that's probably not going to ever happen. I did a stream-a-thon this winter, and yeah, we're good for another couple of years. Aren't we, Billy?